Chapter 15. A Brand New Day. The next morning, they all meet up for breakfast and start the day with the same enthusiasm as the night before. Myra bounces into the dining hall with a bubbly energy. The rest of the teens are already sitting, and several of them have already started eating. "Good morning," she greets them all. "Morning," they all respond cheerfully. Except, of course, for Chadri, who has a mouth full of croissant and cheese. Instead, he opts to wave and nods his head in acknowledgement. Kip asks, "Who's ready to get this day started?" "I honestly can't wait to get back at my casting practice," Myra exclaims. Then, with a resolute expression, she adds, "I want to cast a critical as soon as possible." "I'm just so stoked that my magic includes music," Chadri blurts out, banging his head and making his dreads fly about. Then he stops and looks down. "But a lyre is just a little bit old school." "Yeah, but what you can do with it is so amazing," Maddox argues. "That is true," Chadri admits, perking up. "I am so sore from yesterday, but still, I can't wait to get back at it today," Maddox admits. "I can literally feel the difference with targeted training." Then, smacking Kip's shoulder, he inquires, "Can't you?" "Most definitely, dude," his friend agrees. "Well, I hope we have another day of running VR missions like yesterday," Lizzie squeals. "I'm fine either way, but I like the sound of that caster training," Hama confesses. Then she divulges, "I'd really love to take a stab at that." "Well then, perhaps we could give it a try with all of you as a group at some point," Janice proposes. Then she cuts short with, "Although certainly not anytime soon. I mean, could you imagine 3 of you losing control of your spells at the same time?" She shakes her head vehemently. "It would be an utter catastrophe." Next, she zeroes in on Maddox. "You, however, will be joining us for some practice in the library later, after you finish lifting and running some combat technique drills with myself and Kip," Kunar informs him. Next, he looks over at Lizzie and Hama. "And you two will be joining us this afternoon for combat training." "Oh wow," Hama says, surprised. "Well, that's one way to change it up." "Yeah, not the best way, I think," Lizzie chimes in. "Okay, let's break off into the same pairs as yesterday," Kunar directs them all. "Today, you two will be running sprints and relays, then finish with some endurance training," Janice informs Myra and Chadri. "Myra, I know your stamina is already fairly high from your in-game stats, but your speed and acceleration are what we'll be working to improve." Concluding, she looks at Chadri. "I'm pretty sure you need a lot of work in several areas." Myra busts out laughing but stops abruptly. "Sorry, Chadri." Afterwards, slightly giggling, Myra insists, "But that was so funny." As they begin, Janice has them focus on breathing first. Breath is life. Breath is mana. She pauses and looks at them both. But unlike yesterday, breath is also stamina. So today, we will be learning and practicing breathing techniques to improve our endurance, enabling us to perform evasive activities such as sprinting and running over extended periods. Over time and with repetition, these techniques will improve your stamina for casting while moving and maintaining a safe distance. With proper technique and conditioning, you can keep running faster and longer than any enemy you might face. This is extremely crucial for us since much of our time, we casters win fights by staying out of reach from those more physically capable than us. For this reason, it is vital that we have sufficient endurance to constantly stay on the move in between spell casts for extended periods. We can destroy our enemies so long as we maintain this distance, but if we fail to do so, and allow someone to catch up to us, it will be the end for us. Therefore, I will reiterate, both sprinting and endurance running are crucial skills that we must maintain and train constantly. As this lesson begins to unfold in the library for Myri and Chadra, over in the weight room, Kunar instructs his 2 trainees, "Let's start off by running these combat drills." Maddox and Kip take their positions and prepare to go at each other. Matic volunteers. I'll attack first, Kip. You can defend. That works for me. You can begin. Then, just before Kunar starts the first drill, a messenger barges in. Kunar, a word please. Kunar agrees and commands the teens, begin your drill. Next, he steps aside to speak with the messenger in private. After a few moments, he calls out, Change of plans, fellas. You know, today, Kip, you can enjoy leg day with Hama and Lizzie. Caleb is beastly when it comes to leg day. As for you, Matic, go on over and join Janice in the library. Okay, they both reply, slightly bewildered by the sudden change to their day. But afterwards, they split up and head towards their newly assigned spots. As Matic enters the library, he reports, Hi, Janice. Quick change in plans. I'm now going to be joining you guys for this session. Excellent. I've been really curious to see how you will perform in this area of training, she nearly sings with a smile. She wastes no time jumping right in and giving Matic the same introductory spiel that she had given the other two. After this brief explanation, Janice instructs Myra and Chadri to demonstrate by using what they had learned and achieved the previous day. Then, Matic spends some time working on this assigned breathwork. As evening approaches, they cover a new, focused breathing technique. A technique which Janice describes as right up Matic's alley. However, when he begins focusing as instructed, he inadvertently activates a deeper level of his empathic gift. At first, he sees Kunar walking and can feel a great deal of stress radiating from him. He winces and furrows his brow with his eyes shut. He receives a few flashes of some girl and gets the impression that she is in some kind of peril, somewhere specific. He is suddenly consumed by concern for her and latches on to her feelings of distress. This leads him to suddenly having a stronger connection to her, and he gets another series of snapshots. First he sees her from above, in a sort of third-person perspective. Then he suddenly shifts, and from her eyes, he sees some figures surrounding her. These figures give off a negative sensation, some sort of dark vibe. The next snapshot is of a location. A very detailed image pops into his mind, and he recognizes the location. Realizing this, he once again feels compelled to look in on this unknown girl. Instantly, he is back inside the building, looking at the Asian girl with long blue hair, and he sees that she is tied up and bound to a chair. Suddenly, a thick, heavy, dark energy presses in towards him, and he can feel this dark presence has noticed him. Matic understands that something very negative is aware that he is watching, and has already begun actively seeking him. Worse still, he can feel it closing in on him. Then instantly, he feels a jolt of panic and fear, as if he's being hunted. Next, he gets a flash of some sinister shadow with glowing red eyes, dashing back and forth like a dark wind, then lunging at him without warning. This experience leaves him frozen and filled with dread. But suddenly he feels something, no, someone, gently tugging on him with vigor, from somewhere both near and far. Then, just before escaping this situation, he sees the same shadow standing before a dark entity, greater and more powerful than itself. Matic! Janice shouts. Matic's eyes shoot wide open and he gasps for air, grabbing his chest.